those streams are swollen. Keep those toes rolling behind. And there's a pebble sand beach face there. I'd say it's 35 meters, and then a little flat, 10 meters down below that. Ditto on this one, that looks like a village maybe.
But the intertidal doesn't look that
different. There's a little wetland up there. It's pumping a little near over the sand on that property beach. Some very strong currents going through here, and it's obviously a used channel because there was a navigation marker down below us. Very narrow intertidals are on bedrock, holding in the air over that bedrock.
Overhang, and that is Sparticle in the upper.
And this has a flat wetland up high, looks like pebble cobble veneer over sand, about 15 meters, and then boulder and bedrock. There's a whole system there.
Sparticle in the upper.
There's a whole channel system in the middle of that there, which we can do in one loop on the other side, I think.
All current dominated.
And it's boulder veneer over bedrock.
Shore, scattered areas systems here. That is diatom, filament stream at the water's edge.
Yeah, you can loop it wherever you want. It actually has some forks in it. One fork goes over to your right.
This is like a drying pond lagoon. There's a little bit of encrusted eelgrass in that larger pond there.
Yeah. But if you tighten this is all pebble sand up here where the margins tend to be bedrock or boulder.
Patch of eelgrass there, soft around near shore. Incredible diatom terrain.
Boulder grade down to sand.
Area systems.
Might have to do one big loop in this mess.
Because of the current.
Oh, okay.
Nearshore Nereal. This is all Nereal systems.
We got pebble sand beaches around the margins. And there's a little high tide lagoon here with a wetland fringe of 5 meters. Ebb tidal delta. Got a little bit, not talking about eelgrass there. Looks like a lot of sand in the center of the lagoon. The channel looks like sand with wetland fringe. And just great blue heron. Like a pterodactyl. He does like the Concorde and retracts his neck. Folds it up into a little loop.
Filamentous screen and alga pike in the mid-intertidal. Lots of Nereal systems. Look at the current streaming in Nereal systems. Incredibly strong current. This seems so surprising. That is Alaria at the water's edge, crested Macrocystus.
South of us, which is behind us. Yeah, I think this little group here.
Nearshore Macrocystus. Soft ground at the water's edge, and there is
this little island's getting way more attention than it deserves here.
patchy alga band.
That's great.
Lovely flowers.
Our mappers will have a joy on it.
Some eagle down.
And that's a pebble sand up high, boulder cobble down low. This is pebble sand right across there, boulder cobble up in the right, 35 meters on that beach. And this is all boulder veneer over bedrock. here we've got mostly boulder veneer. The Tombolo has a little bit of sand on it, but it's basically boulder veneer or boulder cobble. And
that's Nereocystis.
This is bedrock cliff, less than 5 meters in width. And let's see, we're 7 minutes into our tape here. Everything looking good. Audio's looking good. Audio's sounding good. Hello.
Area at the waterline. Barnacle up on the platform, and there's the surf grass up in that tide pool on the platform.
We're just going up Twin Islands here, and there's a big pool here in between on the Tombolo. It's a very odd feature. It's all boulder all the way around the pool. There's a little bit of sand dusting on the far side, all boulder. I think so, Lewis, yeah. All boulders on both sides of this. On the other side, it was about 5 meters wide. This is about 15 meters wide, and it's boulder veneer.
Green, filamentous red.
And then we've got boulder veneer on the backside here, mixed in boulder veneer of the bedrock platform. A little bit of sand granular beach there, 20 meters in width, grading down to boulder down below that. This is boulder cobble down low here.
That is soft ground and eelgrass at the water's edge.
No, this one, the one that's on your 9 o'clock, that's not an island. I think we're kind of done out here. Can you zoom out a little bit? No. Yeah, we need to go a little bit back on the mainland. Can you zoom out some more? Yeah, no, we're good to the north, Lewis. Yeah, you got to go, we want to reattach to yesterday, so you need to go a bit further north. Yeah. And a little bit to your left. To your left, still to your left. It in your mind to go someplace. Well, you're going to go inside. There's an island, and our track line starts in a bay just beyond the island. No, this is the island right here, and
where we had a disagreement about missing shoreline yesterday.
Okay, this is, we're now overlapping, and so we could turn around and start any place about here.
Well, thank God someone's keeping track.
That, Jody? Yeah.
Here we are, back where we stopped yesterday, approximately.
No, we haven't actually got this.
Look at that very black.
That was the final meltdown, right?
That is a barnacle frosting in the upper. Lovely soft brown.
This is picking up where we left off yesterday. How was that?
Soft ground at the waterline. There's some high disaster.
You doing okay over there? Good. Yeah, there's a strait here. And we're going in. It's all sand. In the center here, there's some tide pools, and it goes, actually goes right through. And there's looking at you. As we go along here, it's pebbly sand in flats, boulder, veneer over bedrock,
Soft
and
ground down at the
margins.
waterline. This would be semi-protected. Incredible tree canopy overhanging.
And we're just, we've done all this other stuff here. Very strong channel that I talked about.
Sparse fucus, really beautiful.
And there's a little bit of pebble cobble veneer over sand and then pocket, dusting of biogenic sand. Very strong currents through this area. I see lots of biogenic sand drapes or pockets in the subtidal. And we've got a complicated little flat system here with this is the tidal pool. I believe you got this sort of from the other side, not quite maybe. And that completes this little island. And as I said, there's sort of a pebbly sand drape all around those wetlands sitting on top, perched on top of the bedrock, and lots of bivalve shells evident here. And because it's really well flushed with currents, it works pretty well. Good water flow here. Pebble veneers over sand on some of these drapes. Very low energy in here. We're kind of inside and very protected environment. And we're just about to head into Flag Bay. We've got a couple of pockets. Red and what is edge, diatom mat. And one other thing, Jody, is as we go in here, I did wanted to get Clag Island before we go in and do Clag Bay. So wherever it's a good point to drop off.
And now it's a very sparse looking intertidal.
Yeah, exactly. Up at the Narrows would be great.
This is all protected.
And this is all very low wave exposure here. There's pretty good currents through. So it tends to be a cobble veneer over sand. And yeah, little cabin right at the Narrows here as we go through. This is all boulder cobble veneer over bedrock. And then there's little pockets of pebble sand, pebble cobble veneer, and there's a cabin in there, very long, skinny things. Looks like it was probably dragged off a barge. And we're just going through the Narrows into Clag Bay here. This is all bedrock. You see the extremely strong currents coming out of the channel. And we're going to break off and start on a circumnavigation of Clag Island.
Lots of current, upper.
And as we zip around, very complex shoreline, mixtures of bedrock outcrops and small little pockets. Mostly over the bedrock areas, it's a boulder cobble veneer over the bedrock in the lower gradient. Pockets, it's sort of a pebble sand or a pebble cobble veneer over sand. The intertidal zone widths are generally quite narrow, about 50 to 20 meters. These are about 15 to 20 meters, and you can see that. I was just about to say no, but now here we are.
Little grass at the toe of the beach.
Lots of bivalve shells evident on the pool down below there. It's pebble sand with lots of bivalve shells sitting on the surface. Here back into the bedrock, controlled shoreline with sand flats in between, pebble, looks like more pebble lag over the sand than cobble. Pebble cobble lag or pebble lag. Big sheet of sheet metal or something in there. Looks like here we got pebbly sand up high, just below that wetland.
Patchy, barnacle, patchy, mucus, greens in the midsection. Lower intertidal is diatoms. Near shore imperial systems with their partly stream current right here. More current up ahead. Ooh, really strong current in the middle of this channel.
You can see that big old scar up on the hillside there is the mine, I believe. I think so. And our fuel is just on the other side of that mountain there.
This is the upper with barnacle, diatom, and water line. Aerial systems.
And this is a whole complex of bedrock outcrops and headlands with little pocket beaches in between. Most of the bedrock has a boulder cobble lag over the surface. The little pocket beaches are typically pebble, cobble lag over sand. And that's the pattern here. The widths are generally low. Width on that beach probably 35 meters. And then we've got a little complex of sand flats and things like that.
It's all protected in some areas of current effect. Flat splash zone. That's mucus right down to the edge of the water.
And these are all flats in here with
It's all protected. That's just a barnacle crossing
cobble
the
veneer
upper.
over sand and generally about 25 meters in width all the way along. And we're just coming up on Flag Island here.
Not there, but it's here. Upper. The intertidal is just the
And this is a long little lagoon on Flag Island. They're just our inlet, and we're going to do a turn here. See all the bivalve shells right down at the low water line, and lots of eelgrass all around the margins. The margins are generally bedrock with boulder veneer, and the flats are pebble cobble veneer over sand, 10 to 15, and the boulder cobble veneer over bedrock is tends to be less than 10. Little complex and wetland area here. Same pattern all the way along here. Pebbly sand grading down the cobble, pebble in the lower intertidal. This is all boulder cobble, a little bit finer, really stable shoreline. You can see our beautifully developed biobanding here on the point. Very subtle differences of things as we go through here. And this is looking through, I think we're looped here, if I'm not mistaken. Some guidance from the navigation department might be helpful. I can tell you one thing, we're ahead of schedule.
Barnacle frosting is very prominent in the upper.
It's about 10 meters.
Diatoms at the waterline, mucus.
Maybe a bit more. It's 25 meters here.
Barnacles there.
You ever play soccer, Jody?
Pattern, squash ridges.
Well, you know.
Wheelgrass and the toe of the
Yeah, well, you know a soccer field's 100 meters, right?
squash ridges out.
Those are flats. Looks like about 50 or 60 meters in width. Now we're narrower here. Pebble sand, pebble cobble veneer over sand and these flats. Back into the boulder. This is pebble cobble veneer over sand. Looks to be like 35 meters.
Deer going on.
And a little stream coming down there, pebble sand matrix with a cobble veneer and then boulders you can see off to the margins. These are all pebble cobble veneers over sand on these flats. And we're going to do a bit of a loop-de-loop here. Look at that beautiful sort of picture of the eelgrass, and I hope it shows up as we come around the corner here. Very, very narrow band of eelgrass. It just doesn't go into the subtidal very much. Looks like it goes down maybe about 2 meters below where we are right now. Water viz is generally pretty good. Beautiful, beautiful biobanding.
There in the upper.
Beautiful biobanding on these boulder cobble beaches. So it's boulder up high, cobble veneer down low. Here's a flat with pebbly sand right the way across, 35 meters.
And eelgrass. Same here.
And here we've got swash bars, pebble sand, 40 meters in width. These are 25 meter wide pebble sand beaches. That one's probably 35. Here we've got another swash ridges, old shack in the wetlands. I would say 50 meters intertidal zone.
Eelgrass is fringing all along.
Can we go a bit slower? I know it's hard.
That's an old homestead or something there. Homestead. Here's your eelgrass. There's more debris on the beach there. Frosting of barnacles is dominating in the intertidal. That's diatom at the waterline. Crusted eelgrass.
And we've got cobble, boulder. This is the old mine site in here. You can see some of the wreckage, rubble from the mine. Eelgrass in the offshore. There's one of the old slag piles and tanks. And lots of refuge, old barges and buildings and everything associated with the mine. There's the talus there.
There's the old infrastructure of the mine right behind us.
And we'll go up into the system here. And lots of eelgrass along the shoreline.
Campsite, eelgrass.
So that actually isn't the mine, it just is a big slide.
Look up on the hill there. See the end of the adit way up high?
Oh, yeah. And how wide? Oh, well, the widest part here is probably 100.
There's deer down there.
100 meters. This is a very odd delta here, like a bird-foot delta.
Yes.
And this looks like a very fine. There's I would call it a muddy, pebbly sand. There's a very odd bird-foot delta. Lots of eelgrass in the bay here. And
that pile of boulders. This is dominated by barnacle across the beach.
And now we're in a lower complex.
Eelgrass all along
the cobble veneer down lower. And a very complex pattern around this little islet. Mine is all off to our right side of the aircraft. Lots of eelgrass in here.
On the lower beach, barnacle. Overall, very bare looking.
And we got pebbly sand matrix on most of this. Cobbles down lower, cobble veneer down lower. Lots of bedrock with boulder veneer. There's a big tide pool with eelgrass in it. It's a pebbly sand beach matrix, and behind that.
Shoreline. That's diatoms at the waterline. It's not much. Most of barnacle.
And I think what we'll do is go in and do these lake systems and then work out, and we'll try to run it right to 2 hours or so before our fuel, because we want to be pretty dry so we can take a lot of fuel on and make sure those drums are empty.
Very bare looking beach here, crossing the barnacles, diatoms at the waterline.
And it's all boulder, ready down the cobble. The flats are pebble cobble veneer over sand. You see some swash ridges, boulder veneer over the bedrock. These are 25 meters in width generally. Some of the wider flats are over 30 meters in width. And a very complex little shoreline here. There's a boat pulled up, a skiff pulled up in there. Kind of weird. See any cabin over there?
No.
Wetlands around the margins.
Barnacle frosting on the platform.
And these are all flats with, let's say, pebble cobble veneer over sand, sort of draping over bedrock. On the bedrock itself, there tends to be a lot of boulder. Just too much complexity for me to get all the intertidal zone widths. Right here, I would say the intertidal zone width is about 25 meters, and it's kind of a pebble lag, some boulders over sand on those sediment flats, and then there's the bedrock areas, which are obviously boulder lag over bedrock.
Wow, tremendous overhanging.
And here we've got pebble cobble veneer over sand. I would say 25 meters.
That's a fringing eelgrass band all along here, and up in the intertidal it's just
now we've almost done this whole island
on the platform there, just patches.
And just looking over, there's a little lagoon system, and looking across to the boat, very odd, the boat's over there, no obvious cabin or anything in there, and there's the back side of those little islets. Lots of pools sitting up in the bedrock, pebble veneer over sand drapes, lots of bivalve shells around that little island.
Beautiful outflow of the
cabin on the wave to the guy, sort of a wave back.
Nice setup.
That's a stream out, might be a fisheries colleague cabin or something like that. Does that stream have a name there, Jody? There was a stream we just passed by, and I wondered if it had a name. Narrow intertidal zone here. Pockets of pebble veneer over sand. Yeah, there's sea otters in here, very unusual. Here's lots of biogenic sand drape over the little island there. Tons of bivalve shells evident. So this is pretty productive in terms of clams. Maybe why the sea otters are in here. Lots of sediment drape of pebble sand over the bedrock on these pocket beaches, 25 meters wide. These are 20, and here we'll do a loop in here. These are about 20 meters wide. I would say it's pebble cobble veneer over sand, 20 meters. You see boulders up around the margins, and as we come around, some swash ridges evident, so occasional storms are reworking and moving the sand around a little bit.
Barnacle.
And here we've got boulder up 5 meters, and then pebble cobble veneer over sand down low. And looking back here again, it's boulder 5 meters, and then gets into, well, now we're into boulder cobble right across, a little bit of sand drape right at the low water line. Swash ridge is here, getting pebble sand, boulder cobble veneer, or pebble cobble veneer. These are beaches in there, a bit of a tombolo that's been vegetated, pebble sand drape over the bedrock.
Eelgrass, diatoms at the lower beach.
And we're going to break off here and get this lone little island. And we're going out to Haulinas Island.
With that beautiful
and so far everything's looking good here.
Narrow splash, so crossing the barnacles, there's a deep span below it. It's like somebody's something.
Roe Island.
Plants on that little small plant beach there.
Roe Island. That's pebbly sand drape over the boulder cobble matrix. You see the boulders over the bedrock there, looking back towards the head of the bay and the mine there. And we're back on Pauline Island, and it's sort of boulder up high, graded down to pebbly sand down low, pebble sand beach face here, 25 meters in width, and then we've got boulder cobble here right across, and we're just breaking off to catch one other little island out in the bay here.
It's all protected. Exposure.
This is New Island, little pocket beach there of pebble cobble veneer over sand. This is pebble cobble veneer over sand on this flat. And boulder and boulder rubble on top of the bedrock. Little lagoon with wetlands around the edge. The main part of the lagoon is, the floor of the lagoon is probably sand and coarser material around the edges. And just coming back to reattach to our little island here. And this is where we jumped off the shoreline. It's boulder up high, going down to sand, with cobble veneer down low.
With patches of diatoms and waterline.
And it's pebble cobble.
Narrow splash, overhanging tree canopy. A little more mucus here. Oh, just jumping for joy. Diatoms drape on the water's edge. Lots of places with eelgrass encrusted. Nice patch of eelgrass there.
And we did that little bay that's just ahead of you. We've already done that, so we can go right to the headland. That's correct. You do you? Yes.
There's a little bit of soft grounds.
No, actually, we didn't do half of it. We need to go right around it. Yes, you're right. Okay, and now we're going into the lake? Yeah. But this is the lake here. No, this is the one we know, Marine. It's the next one.
There's a big current streaming out.
So we're into Lake Anna here. There's very strong currents coming out, but no question it's Marine. And,
something to do with
it's pebble sand beaches. Now we're into boulder cobble, pebble sand beaches there, 25, 30 meters. We've got boulder veneer all the way around the edge. The top boulder there is kind of a pebble veneer over sand. Now we're kind of set up and going along the shore here. It's a pretty low energy environment. It's a lot of vegetation overhang. It's boulder veneer over bedrock or pebble cobble veneer over sand on these pocket beaches. Generally all narrow intertidal zone widths. I would say we're into 25 meters here.
There's soft ground at the edge of the drop-off. It is ponded here. The tidal level is higher than where we just were.
And this is all well-sorted boulder. Go down to cobble at the low water line. Pretty similar all the way along here. This could be mapped almost as one unit. There's a little beach 5 meters wide of pebble sand, and then going down to cobble down lower. Pebble sand up high, 10 meters wide, and another 15 meters of pebble veneer over sand. There's a beach there, 35 meters wide. Halfway between 7 and 11:15, so roughly 9.
Very bare.
And this is all narrow, less than 10 meters, boulder cobble right across the intertidal veneer over bedrock. That little pocket beach was 20 meters wide of boulder cobble up high and then sand down low. And this is all kind of a boulder cobble veneer. There's another lake system up behind here. That's the river system in that lake. Here we've got sand drape in the lower part of the intertidal back into boulder cobble veneer.
Water's edge.
Yeah, so let's go in here and see what it looks like. Mary will tell you whether it's a lake or whether it's not a lake.
It is
We're now into tidal and we're just going.
Incredible.
What's the name of this we're going into? Sister. So we're in Anna Lake and we're going through the main channel here. Incredibly very strong currents. So we're going into the lake.
Incredibly current.
And Mary said there's definitely fucus in here. Marine. Certainly lots of kelp along the shoreline, extremely strong channels through here.
This here, very narrow
And it's odd, there's a very tiny intertidal zone here. This is all boulder cobble. It sure looks like a lake in here. Very odd shoreline. Very narrow, less than 5 meters. Here we get bedrock. I haven't seen any beaches here. It's a couple kilometers in length and width, so probably get some pretty good fetches in here.
That's definitely tidal.
Little tiny patches of mucus.
But it's really ponded up. That's mucus and barnacle.
Yeah, that's a little sand beach.
This is a very, very
probably 15 meters wide, really nicely sorted sand beach.
Hardly intertidal drawdown.
Marsh here. This is pebble cobble veneer over sand.
Sparse mucus, and it's still essentially high tide up here. It's nice and clear. What's some soft ground there?
Looks like a lake beach. Here we've got a delta, partially submerged.
There's a bit of eelgrass, a bit more eelgrass.
This is one of the lowest tides of the year, and this is a pretty good indication of about the lowest level that the water reaches in here. As you can see, bedrock cliffs, incredibly narrow.
Should all be protected, I guess.
And we're 43 minutes into the tape, so at the end of this tape, we'll probably get both of these lake systems done and be pretty much on schedule here. Pebbly sand beach face. Pebbly sand beach face. There's swash ridges on this delta. It's sort of a bird-foot delta, very poorly organized. It's all sand. I don't see much pebble out here at all. Maybe there's a little bit of pebble. Certainly no cobble. The water comes down from a waterfall, which explains why there's not much coarse material. It's all filtered out. These are sand beaches. There's a little pebble cobble on there. They're about 5 meters wide, and then there's the marshy wetland in there.
On the other side of this delta, let's do a low and slow. There's a billion fish.
Lots of fish here. Is that eelgrass? Yes, it is.
It's eelgrass and salmon.
Yeah. And swash ridges on here. Very
It's a
beautiful delta. Pretty good bow.
Dam. There's two bears up ahead of us.
It's good. We can turn.
Wildlife viewing.
Oh,
He's standing up.
There.
Oh, he's standing up. And then there's fish.
And the eelgrass looks gone. Oh, there's a fish.
You see the fish, John, underwater?
Yeah, I thought it was an eelgrass bed and it's fish.
Yeah.
Must be the pinks spawning in the near shore
Okay,
there.
as slowly as you can go here. So you see, it's still high tide here, and there is eelgrass.
But Mary, we're at low tide at one of the lowest tides of the year.
It's still high tide up here.
I know, but it's...
Just slide a bit right. Yeah, there, perfect. So it's eelgrass all along here. It's just real patchy. It's down about 3 feet. See, there's eelgrass.
Okay. To your right. Okay?
That's good, thank you. Just wanted to confirm that there was eelgrass there. I think this actually looks really lush. There's some encrusted eelgrass underwater. Fringing patchy eelgrass all around here.
This is, we're doing Sister Lake.
Lots more fish. There's some more eelgrass there. Underwater, just where the fish are.
There are tons of fish in here. Just took up for an eelgrass bed. Going back to the sediments, we've got sand beaches. This is pebble cobble veneer.
It's not too surprising there'd be a big delay in the tide with that constricted entrance twice. This is beautiful, brilliant golden fucus. Yeah, the tidal range is way less.
Probably about a meter instead of being like 3 3 meters offshore.
All be protected. That's
Sand,
patchy. Just not much barnacle I've seen. Definitely a nice patchy mucus band.
very clear.
I don't see eelgrass underwater here. Forward if I can. See the tidal range is very limited.
And these are boulder cobble beaches.
There's
Boulder
underwater
cobble right across
eelgrass.
the intertidal zone.
There's some barnacles visible now. Barnacle band, narrow.
Boulder cobble right across the intertidal zone here.
Barnacle, narrow splash.
Very narrow intertidal bedrock, and now we're boulder cobble beaches.
Patchy here.
Probably a veneer. There's sand right next to the node step.
Not seeing eelgrass right
Sand
there.
beach here
Barnacle
with
is
boulder
patchy.
cobble mixed in. These are all boulder cobble beaches, very narrow, less than 5 meters.
Huge lake.
A little pocket of sand in there mixed in amongst the boulder
It's all
cobble.
protected.
This is all boulder cobble
Patchy.
veneer over bedrock.
Gosh, even the deepest is underwater.
This is a huge, huge lake.
It's a barnacle band. Narrow splash zone. This is underwater.
Very narrow in the tidal zone. Really not much tidal range here.
Protected.
In here.
This is
Boulder cobble veneer.
narrow barnacle band. Pretty much all I can see.
Almost no.
Huge.
It looks
lake.
much more like a lake in this part. Looks even like a higher water level.
Yeah, as we get further into the lake, I think the tide level's even higher. And there's less mucus. Oh my gosh.
You want to jump off and get
See,
it
it's
now,
looking,
or too
it's
late?
still marine, but it's looking
Okay.
less marine. This would be a really interesting place to study the water characteristics. Look at that. You wouldn't guess
And we've got
that
some
salt
little
water
beaches
now.
In here of sand
Hardly
and
any
incredibly
evidence.
protected
except
little
for those few little
location
plants
here. Didn't get all the
Yes,
backside of
this is
that.
not a
It's
lake now.
basically all of the shoreline is either bedrock or sort of this boulder cobble. There's the odd sand patch, that little tumble with the sand patch.
It's a bizarre feature, eh, John?
Yeah, I mean, it's looking less and less marine here.
Yeah.
It is a huge chunk of shoreline, too. Lewis, how are you doing on fuel here? How much fuel do we have left? Okay, well, we'll just go 10 minutes. Well, we can, doesn't really matter. We'll work on the fuel, not worry too much about
There's
the
a bit of
tapes.
patchy mucus.
I think we're only a couple of miles from our fuel here. Okay.
So it's less and less evidence of the salt water.
Shooting up in behind there.
It's pretty much completely bare here.
This is all the boulder veneer over
Down in,
bedrock, incredibly narrow intertidal
zero
zone.
tide,
There's a little,
but can't really tell what it is. This just looks like a
area, is there anything up here that you would call marine?
It looks like a lake to me.
Yeah, isn't
Except
that
it's
bizarre?
got a drawdown like a reservoir.
Yeah.
See, there's something about a foot down there. But I can't tell what it is. There's a patch of fucus.
And,
Oh, there's more fucus coming up.
this is
Wow, how's that for a
probably
riparian overhang?
There's so much riparian overhang, I can't see.
Yeah,
A little bit of boulder
Maybe
cobble
obscured,
there,
there's
boulder
patches
cobble veneer over bedrock.
Intertidal zone is extremely narrow.
There's sand pocket down in there with wetlands. These are boulder cobble veneer over bedrock.
A little bit of fucus there. Fish jumping up here.
And as we come around the corner there, there's a little sand beach at the head. It's fun. And fortunately, it's a very simple shoreline, so it's okay to go fast here.
Just a little bit of a estuary delta. Very bare otherwise.
This is all boulder cobble veneer over bedrock. The really narrow parts where you can't see any shoreline at all will be just bedrock, but this is all boulder or boulder cobble veneer. And you can just swing out and I'll get this all as one big chunk.
Pretty much completely bare.
Well, we'll probably
I don't
have to
see
do a circuit in here or
any
something.
evidence.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't mean that far out. Yeah. And just going along the shore here, there's a little bit of a sand beach there. Pretty much all the rest of this is, that's bedrock on the backside of the island.
It's a floater.
And
Something.
a little bit of a sand beach there, about 15 meters in width. There's a little delta in there, maybe 20, 25 meters. This is 5 to 10 meters. No, this is 10 meters in width. Boulder. Cobble right across the intertidal, sort of a veneer over the bedrock, and we got 5 minutes left in our videotape. I'll shoot in. I'll shoot in. And this is no skid, and we got. As we come in here, we're really low energy and pebbly sand matrix drape picking up on the little beaches, and we're going to go into a little tiny little inlet here in the lagoon. And there's not much in the lagoon. There's kind of a fringing wetland. That'll be probably a beaver dam. First one I've seen of those. And looks like just fine sediments, sand and rock all there. Kind of a sill out here of sand flat around the edges.
Pretty much bare.
Boulder cobble veneer over sand.
You just saw that.
This is boulder cobble veneer over sand, and then we're boulder cobble veneer over bedrock on these islands. A little bit of sand on the backside of this island. This is boulder cobble.
Water, and you don't really see anything significant growing underwater either. There's the open coast. Just over there.
And then we've got mostly boulder cobble veneer over bedrock. Here we've got sand. And as we come in here, there's the backside of this little dam. watching this little boulder cobble veneer over bedrock. Navigation department.
Clearly
reporting.
Lower limit of the tide outlined by biota of some kind.
Okay. You're doing a great job, or? Okay. It's pretty hard to get lost in a lake, isn't it? Bedrock on the back sides of these islands, little pockets of boulder cobble, and we're just going to do a loop here.
Almost looks like soft ground. I think it's an optical illusion. Patchy barnacle mucus here, and it's right at the water's edge.
Yeah, that's a little bit there. Boulders across the front, sand in behind. This is mostly boulders and cobbles with some pebble. Okay.
Starting to look a bit more marine again. Still barnacle mucus.
And little pebble sand beach behind there. Starting to pick up fucus again, more obviously. And this is all boulder veneer right across the intertidal. There's an inlet coming in, definitely marine just outside here.
It's certainly marine right just within 50 meters there. This patch is overall bare looking.
And a little embayment there, it's sort of sand, pebble sand beaches all the way around the edges, 10 meters in wood. And here we've got boulder all around the edges, boulder veneer over bedrock, and that's about 5 to 10 meters. And we're getting a tape warning. Just after we do this loop, we'll do a tape change here. Just a good guess. And as we turn the corner, we got wetlands up here. Very disorganized shoreline, though, not much energy. Sand drapes are the common stopping. I'll just go a bit further. And right here.